Hey Pokemon World, I'm Matthew, an artist, musician, and storyteller turned Pokemon collector / investor. Don't ask me how this happened. Well, you can, but my answer will come later. Anyway, if there's one thing I've learned in my first few months in the hobby, it's that the art of just a few cards can make or break a set. I plan to make some videos on this topic, and you may have seen a PokeTuber named VRule who explores it. But for now, this video is about the top 10 illustration rares I would love to see in the Team Rocket TCG set coming out in 2025. These are hypothetical cards that I think would boost the set from an artistic and economic standpoint. So, whether you're an investor, collector, or just a fan, this video is for you. It's a thought exercise in imagining a successful card, and it might give you a keener sense of what to look for in your next buy. Before I tell you my top 10, here are some runner-ups. Kofi, Ekans, Magikarp, Wobbuffet, Lickitung, Mime Jr., Victreebel, Giovanni, Rocket, Grunt, Butch, Cassidy, and many, many more. The thing is, while those are great picks and likely will show up in the Rocket set, I'm trying to focus on cards that aren't quite as obvious for the sake of entertainment. And one more thing before our 10th card. I'm a bit of an old head. You'll see my love for Gens 1 and 2 reflected in this list. I'm also a fan of the stories in Pokemon, so my ideas for these illustration rares will often be connected to the anime and games. Your Rocket list might look different from mine, and that's okay. Number 10, Mecha Meowth. In our number 10 spot, we have some kind of Meowth mecha. Maybe this one, or maybe this? There are so many in the show. I haven't personally seen any official TCG cards featuring a Meowth mecha, so let's change that. Make it a trainer card, slap it in a Meowth deck, and use it to buff your basic Meowth. Tens of thousands of fans would be delighted to see Team Rocket's wily mascot climb into a giant metal version of himself and terrorize the TCG just like he did the show. While the TCG does make the occasional nod to the anime, it tends to miss opportunities like this, rendering Pokemon's most beloved characters a bit too generically. The Rocket set is a great chance to turn a vague homage into a nostalgia trip that transports a buyer to a moment in their past. Or to put it another way, turn a cute card into a classic. Anyway, who doesn't like to see our favorite Undercat getting a W? I'll tell you who. Number 9, Giovanni's Persian. Enter Meowth's oldest rival. This elegant feline has laid claim to a few dozen cards in the TCG, but there's a void in the hearts of true Persian fans. Well, at least the Persian fans I know. Here's the vision. Imagine Giovanni's charisma from 151. Take that same office with the nice moody lighting and red sofa, but instead of putting Persian in Giovanni's lap, let Persian sit by itself. Sprawled out, classy, regal, on posh red cushions. And this diabolical "I'm better than you" sneer on its face. Because yes, Persian is better than us, in case you didn't know. We need to feel that. Here, this card is a step in the right direction. Or this, from the upcoming Evolution set. Why can't we have this, but Persian? I think a pomp, sassy Persian would pop off and become a chase. Far more so than Giovanni's charisma, more than Shrouded Fable Persian, which looks kinda dopey to be honest. All we need is the perfect vibe. Number 8, Tag Team, Arbok and Weezing. Prepare for trouble. Make it double with a tag team card. Would the Pokemon Company dare print new tag team cards out of nowhere? I don't see why not. They can do anything they want. Arbok and Weezing might be the most iconic duo in Pokemon history, aside from their trainers. These virulent villains have demonstrated some of the best teamwork in the entire show. Sure, they get tied up in knots from time to time, but when they focus on a goal, they always give Ash and allies a run for their money. I imagine this tag team illustration rare to be shrouded in smog. Weezing looms in the background with a creepy scowl, pumping out noxious fumes. A silhouetted Arbok rears in the foreground, its glare piercing the smokescreen. The fiery marks on its frills throw a bright splash onto an otherwise crepuscular scene. You're staring death in the face. The best of the enemy's troops are breaking you down, piling on pressure. This is how it feels to be hunted by Team Rocket. Number 7. Growlithe/Growly with Kid James. Here's a card that hardcore fans of Indigo League would kill to see. Honestly, I'm not sure if this should be a Growlithe card featuring James or a trainer card featuring Growlithe, but some depiction of these two characters would be dearly appreciated. To show you how a card with a story can captivate a market, let me give you a little context on James and his childhood best friend, Growly. Spoiler alert. In episode 48 of the anime, we learn that James, as a kid, lived in a mansion with his rich parents. His only friend was his pet Growly. In this episode, grown-up James returns to that mansion, and Growly is there. I won't say what happens, but I will say it's a tearjerker. For this illustration rare, I would put Kid James and Growly in a lavish room, give them a snack to share, and let the moment shine. And there could be a matching card. Put adult James and evolved Growly, Arcanine, in the same room, sharing the same snack. One could take inspiration from this beautiful piece of fan art. If James and Growly get their day in the sun, then so do these two besties. Number 6. Chansey with Kid Jessie. Another spoiler. In episode 131 of the anime, Jessie encounters her childhood friend, a Chansey who has since evolved into Blissey. Long ago, the two attended nursing school together. The school being for Chanseys only, there wasn't much hope for Jessie, a human, to graduate, but she was able to assist a Chansey who was falling behind in class. Jessie ended up dropping out, but the Chansey went on to become a nurse, and like with James and Growly, that backstory leads us to the two old friends reuniting in the present. Pokemon's success as an IP is partly due to the stories surrounding its most iconic characters. Stories create memories, and without those memories, today's market would be smaller. People may fall in love with pretty art by itself, like in the case of the Evolutions, but oftentimes they fall in love with what's behind the art. In the Team Rocket set, many fans are going to be looking for those deeper dimensions. On to the card itself. Put Chansey and Kid Jessie in a cozy scene, reading books in a library, practicing first aid. Then put adult Jessie and Blissey on a companion card, featuring their friendship necklace, the broken golden egg, now made whole.
Have you heard of Rakuten? It's a rebate site that gives cash back on qualifying purchases from online stores. If you shop for Pokemon cards at Target, Walmart, Best Buy, Sam's Club, and other big box stores, Rakuten gives you back a percentage of what you spend. Install the extension on Chrome and use my referral code to get $30 back on your first qualifying purchase of $30 or more, or $40 for $40 until December 8th. I'll get that money too. You help me, I help you. It's kind of like a pyramid scheme. Yeah, those are cool. But seriously, this is one way you can support the channel and motivate me to continue making high-effort videos like this. My referral code is here on the screen and can also be found in the video description.
On with the list. A key element of Team Rocket's quest to capture the most valuable Pokemon in the world is fantasy. Giovanni might be a wealthy mob boss, but most of his grunts are average Joes living on pipe dreams. Throughout the anime, Jesse and James rhapsodize to no end about their star-studded futures. Let them have at least one of those futures in card form. Number 5. Rocket's legendary catch. In forming this idea, I got help from this forum post written in 2016. To paraphrase, Jesse and James catch a legendary Pokemon through a funny series of events. Let's say they buy a Master Ball while disguised as ordinary people, but they can't agree on who should get it. In true Rocket fashion, the ball slips out of their hands and rolls out of sight, straight into a legendary Pokemon. They find the ball with the Pokemon inside. So for the card, picture a massive legendary Pokemon in the foreground, reluctantly battling against some off-screen opponent, and then you have puny Jesse and James in the background cackling like maniacs. Nothing like this ever happened in the anime, and I'm sure it never will, but again, it's a fantasy. I would love to see the theme of big dreams played out in the Rocket set, partly because it's something fans want to see, and partly because it's core to who Team Rocket is. But that's not the only overlooked element of Team Rocket. I'd like to look at a character who refused to join Team Rocket in the first place. And that character is... Number 4. Giovanni's son, Silver. Remember Silver, the edgy kid with long hair, your rival in the Gold and Silver games? In the games, for reasons unknown to your character, Silver holds a bitter grudge against Team Rocket. For example, you're sneaking through a Rocket base with a Rocket Grunt disguise on when Silver pops up and commands you to take it off, as if he's appalled. You never find out in Gold and Silver why he acted that way, but in several other games and media, you receive hints that he is, in fact, Giovanni's son. That explains a lot. Silver has been an underrepresented character in the anime. Actually, he never shows up in the anime. But he does catch a cameo in Pokemon Generations Episode 5, which takes place in the aftermath of your mission at the Goldenrod radio tower. Detective Looker approaches Silver with a request for intel on the elusive Giovanni. Silver explains that the last time he saw his father was 3 years before, when Giovanni fled the Viridian City gym after being beaten by 2 young trainers. Silver still hasn't forgiven Giovanni for running off, but he's moved on. In fact, he's about to climb the steps of the Pokemon League to challenge the Elite Four. Doesn't it sound like Silver deserves a card? Believe it or not, he's featured just once in the TCG. This Crobat card is a homage to Silver's Crobat in Gold and Silver. Given Silver's poignant role in the Gen 2 story, I think he deserves more love. Give him another Trainer Gallery card, this time with Feraligatr or Typhlosion. Or maybe give him a trainer card depicting him as Pokemon League champion. Number 3, Meowth versus Persian. We're moving toward the heavy hitters now. You've already seen Meowth and Persian on this list, but their next entry is a little bit different. I propose a 2-card set like the Latios and Latias pair in Surging Sparks. Our protagonist, Meowth, dashes across the left panel of the 2-part picture. Clad in a trench coat and brandishing bright claws, our hero is ready to risk it all for... Yes, you guessed it. Meowsy! It's the epic duel on the rooftop from episode 72. Small recap, and spoiler. Meowth has fallen head over toe beans for Meowsy, a big city Meowth lass who hangs with upper crust humans and looks down on Meowth for being dirty and poor. He's gone through hell to impress her, learning to speak like a human, stand straight like a human, only for her to call him a freak. He just can't catch a break. Vowing to become the richest freak Meowsy has ever seen, Meowth joins Team Rocket. Time passes. When the city falls on hard times and Meowsy is kicked to the curb by her owner, a gang of Meowths takes her in. Meowth, proper, returns, slightly more successful than before, hoping to impress Meowsy and whisk her away from slum life. But she insists that she owes a debt of gratitude to the gang leader, a Persian. Meowth won't let her settle for scraps. He challenges his evolved form to a duel. The blood-red sunset and cityscape below make for a gorgeous backdrop as the fated enemies face off. And we have the second panel. Persian leaps toward his challenger, body outstretched, fangs bared. The only reason this next card isn't number 1 is that I'm not sure it will convey properly. But hear me out. This is potentially one of the hypest cards in the Team Rocket set. Number 2, Rocket's Mewtwo. We've seen it before, mostly in fan art, but all of these Mewtwo's have something in common. They're bound in armor or trapped in a lab. That's great and all, but let's think outside the box. Remember the intro sequence in Pokemon the first movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back, where Mewtwo is raised in a lab, blows it up, joins Team Rocket, spends a few days in the Viridian City gym, blows that up too, and shoots out of the wreckage into the sky? With that blue beam of light behind him, armor crumbling off his skin, fire trailing from his limbs, like a Saturn V rocket blasting into space. Okay, I made up a few of those visuals, but you can see where I'm going here. That's the Mewtwo I want to see. He's more than Rocket's Mewtwo. This Mewtwo has freed himself from Giovanni, from humanity, from all worldly shackles, leaving just the mental ones. This card is a deconstruction of the Rocket theme. It's a reminder that some forces are too savage to be tamed, some Pokemon too dangerous to be captured, some ideas too big to be commodified. An unforgettable message burned into the hearts of Pokemon fans the world over. For our number 1 spot, we have another bold concept and another deconstruction. I'm honestly shocked this card hasn't shown up in the official TCG. We've seen cards that come close, like this Pikachu card and these pieces of fan art, but we've never seen the real thing. Number 1, Rocket's Pikachu. Like number 5 on this list, Rocket's Pikachu is a fantasy. It's Team Rocket's fantasy, and it's our fantasy. If you've watched the anime, you've probably thought about what would happen if Jesse and James were to accomplish their goal. We've seen them capture Pikachu, sure. We've seen it hundreds of times, but that's not all they want, is it? We've never seen Team Rocket convert Pikachu, turn the yellow rat to their crooked agenda. What would Pikachu be like as a member of Team Rocket? How would it act? How would it look? These questions have haunted the Pokemon fandom for decades, and it's time we see them answered in what could give Surging Sparks Pikachu a run for its money as the biggest Pika chase of the modern game. It's a simple card, a sleek, black trench coat with a high collar. Pikachu cocks its head, leering under the low brim of a classic rocket grunt hat. Its arms are crossed. It stands in a crooked pose, like a hardened gangster. How did it come to this? Did Team Rocket's brainwashing wear away at Pikachu over the course of years? Or did Pikachu knowingly walk into Jesse and James' trap one day, hoping for a stable, easy existence that Ash couldn't give? Nah, Pikachu would never. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you've come this far, I'd like to give you the opportunity to win this sealed 151 Dragonite mini tin. All you have to do is leave a like and a comment telling me about one card you'd love to see in the upcoming Rocket set. The more thoughtful, the better. I'll choose my favorite comment and ship the tin to the winner's door. Your subscription would be appreciated too, though if you're just looking for Pokemon content, you might be in for a rude awakening when arm wrestling commentary, original music, and philosophy show up on your feed. Hey, if you enjoy me as a person and want to follow my journey, welcome. Oh, there's one more card I want to mention. It didn't make the top 10, but picture a card with Jessie and Salazzle sexy posing together. Jessie never had a Salazzle in the show for some reason, even though it's perfect.